All right, today we're talking about the digestion of glucose. So the objective today is to explain how glucose gets into your cells. And you're taking notes in your notebook, hopefully, or maybe you're watching this video to review. All right, so how does a glucose molecule reach the cytoplasm of a cell to start cellular respiration? Well, here we have a glucose molecule, and if you'll recall, a glucose molecule is a monosaccharide. It is the component that makes up those macromolecules known as carbohydrates. Now remember, glucose is formed by plants during photosynthesis. Here's our equation down below for photosynthesis, and here's our sugar. Let me see if I can move myself out of the way here. All right. So here's that glucose molecule that's created by photosynthesis. Now the plants don't just make the sugar and do nothing with it. They're actually creating these monosaccharides to build polysaccharides. So right here is a polysaccharide. This is known as a starch. It's multiple glucose molecules bonded together, or multiple sugars bonded together. And we get our glucose by consuming or eating foods that come from plant sources. So potato chips, apples, pretty much anything that came from plants is going to have glucose in the form of starch or polysaccharide. And we start breaking down these large molecules, these polysaccharides, into small molecules, in this case glucose, the monosaccharide, that can be absorbed into the bloodstream. So digestion itself is breaking down those large molecules into smaller molecules that are water soluble, that can be absorbed into the bloodstream from the small intestine. So it all starts in the mouth, okay? And in the mouth, we have these polysaccharides, those starches, and we can break them down or start breaking them down in two different ways. The first way is chemical digestion. So we use enzymes that are in our saliva. They come from our salivary glands. And the biggest one here for the breaking down the glucose would be salivary amylase. And remember from studying enzymes, any word that ends in ASE, you are clued in to that, the fact that it's probably an enzyme, okay? The other way we start breaking it down, so our saliva starts breaking down those starches into smaller molecules of just monosaccharides and disaccharides, mechanical digestion. So we help the chemical digestion by mechanically breaking down those molecules through the act of chewing, okay? You use your teeth. You also use your tongue to move and break down those molecules. So here's teeth and tongue. All right. After you've started this breaking down process, this digestion in your mouth, you create with your tongue a small, compact, almost a ball or a capsule of food. And this is known as a bolus. And then that bolus, this little circle of food, is going to work its way down your esophagus into your stomach through a process known as peristalsis. Peristalsis are wave-like contractions of the muscles in your esophagus, and it helps propel that food down the esophagus into your stomach. So once we reach the stomach, we again have chemical and mechanical digestion occurring. Okay, so chemical occurs through the gastric acids, and most people are like, aha, that gastric acid is mostly composed of hydrochloric acid. And it's actually a strong enough acid that it would burn your skin if it were to get out of your stomach and onto your skin. So how come it doesn't just eat away your stomach? Well, the cells that line your stomach actually secrete a lot of mucus that protects them from that acid. Okay, and if you have issues with the acid staying in your stomach, you might have GERD, gastrointestinal esophageal, basically heartburn, where the sphincter muscle that's right at the top of the stomach right here doesn't close completely, and some of that acid leaks up into your esophagus, and you do feel that burn, and that's why it's called heartburn, even though it doesn't have anything to do with the heart. All right, so that's our chemical digestion. Our mechanical digestion is known as peristaltic mixing. So just like the peristalsis, those wave-like contractions that move the bolus down into the stomach, the peristaltic mixing is also a wave-like contraction of your stomach that helps mix the contents of the stomach with those gastric acids to help those gastric acids better break down the food. There's also propulsion, which basically sloshes the contents of your stomach, the muscles of the stomach, propel the items in the stomach, the food items, from one side to the other, and that also helps mix any contents of that stomach with those gastric acids. All right, from the stomach, we move into the small intestine. So the small intestine, if we go back to this is showing it right here. This is very simplified. You have so much small intestine that if you were to take all your small intestines out and lay them out on the ground, you could cover a basketball court, or at least a tennis court, with the amount of material. So very, very long track. Okay, so here we have our food coming in from the stomach. We have further digestion by enzymes. The major one for the breakdown of these glucose molecules is known as pancreatic amylase. So salivary amylase in the mouth, pancreatic amylase in the small intestine. And this helps break down those sugars. And again, remember, sugars end in OSE. So maltose is a type of sugar, sucrose is a type of sugar, glucose is a type of sugar that helps make up these, lactose, and notice the corresponding enzymes have names: maltase, sucrase, and lactase. Okay, so that's the chemical portion. And then after we break them down into their monosaccharides, here we have glucose molecules, a fructose molecule, galactose. These are all types of monosaccharides, but we're interested in these glucose. These glucose molecules are absorbed through the villi, which are finger-like projections within the small intestine, and it's here that they enter the bloodstream. And so now we're kind of moving from the digestive system into the circulatory system to show where those glucose molecules are going. So once those glucose molecules diffuse through the small intestine into the bloodstream, they are carried by the circulatory system to the liver, where they are buffered in a way. The liver is able to kind of release chemicals in response and different enzymes in response to the amount of glucose that has entered the bloodstream to regulate your blood sugar levels. From the liver, we go to the right side of the heart. Again, this blue is showing you that this blood is deoxygenated, but blood is not actually blue. Okay, so we're on the right side of the heart. Then we're going to go up to the lungs, where this blood will get oxygenated. So now we have glucose and oxygen. Okay, and then from the lungs, we go back to the left side of the heart. And then from here, it is pumped out. Again, the glucose molecules are in this blood, out to all the cells. Okay, and why do we need this? Well, we need it for that cellular respiration to break down those glucose molecules so that we can extract the ATP and fuel all of the different metabolic processes within the body. I hope this helps, and I'll talk to you soon.